Example 1 I call a double triangle question. So we've had triangle questions so far where you had to draw triangles to help you solve them. In a double triangle question, you're going to have to draw two triangles to help you solve it. But when you start reading this question, given angle alpha in standard position in quadrant 3 and cos alpha equals -3/5, that first phrase sounds like a triangle question because we're given sine, cos, or tan, and we're told what quadrant it's in, so you could draw a triangle for that. But then the second part of the phrase says, and angle beta, so we have a second angle with the same kind of information. It's in quadrant 2, and you know sine of beta is 1/3. That also sounds like a triangle question for a different angle. So in a double triangle question, you have two angles, and you can draw a triangle for each of those angles. So for alpha, my alpha triangle will be in quadrant 3. This would be my reference angle for alpha. And because I know that cos is -3/5, I can label adjacent over hypotenuse as 3/5. This one, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you can probably already see that the other side's going to be 4. For beta, it tells us it's in quadrant 2. So for beta, I can draw a triangle in quadrant 2, label my reference angle, and since I know that sine of beta is 1/3, I can label opposite over hypotenuse. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I can calculate the other side to be the square root of 8. We want to find sine alpha plus beta. And that's one of our sum and difference formulas. We look at our formula sheet, and we know that sine alpha plus beta is sine alpha cos beta plus cos alpha sine beta. And this is where our two triangles come into effect. Because on our triangles here, we already knew cos alpha was -3/5, but now that I've drawn my triangle, I can also say that sine alpha is -4/5. Opposite over hypotenuse, and because it's in quadrant 3, sine is negative. And in the second one, I already knew that sine of beta was 1/3. That was given to me in my question. But now that I've drawn the triangle, I can also say that cos of beta is √8/3, and because it's in quadrant 2, cos will be negative. So my two triangles give me values for sine alpha and cos alpha, sine beta and cos beta. And I want to find the exact value of sine alpha plus beta, and our formula says, well, that's just sine alpha times cos beta plus cos alpha times sine beta. So my next step is to just plug things in. And something that happens in this next step is a common error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some statistics, because we want to know if your gut is going to tell you to make the common error now, before a quiz or before a test, so that you can retrain your gut if you're going to make that error. Okay, so I need you to write the next step down. Based on the information that you have from your triangles, write the next step. Usually in a class, it's 50%. 50% of you make the common mistake, 50% of you do it right. Okay? If we don't catch it now, even if I showed you the right way to do it, the 50% of you that make the common mistake will make it again on the quiz. So we want to catch it now. So just write down the next step. If you're unsure, do it in pencil so you can erase it, and I'll take some statistics. What is the mistake? The common mistake is that you plug in, when you get to sine of alpha, which is -4/5, the common mistake is you plug in -4/5 for alpha. you don't know what alpha is, right? We know that all of sine alpha is negative 4 over 5. So that means when you substitute, you don't just substitute for the alpha. You say all of this is negative 4 over 5, and the sine is gone. And then all of cos beta is negative root 8 over 3. All of cos alpha gets replaced with negative 3 over 5, and all of sine beta gets replaced with 1/3. So the sine and the cos, that goes away because you know what cos of alpha is, and you replace all of that with negative 3/5. And now, what do we have? We're going to have 4 root 8 over 15 plus negative 3 over 15. We have a common denominator. In order to write your final answer, it has to be a single fraction. So you can add those together or subtract them. You get 4 root 8 minus 3 all over 15. Now, this would be fine if you left it like this. You could simplify this because the square root of 8 is equal to 2 root 2. And so if the square root of 8 is equal to 2 root 2, then this is the same as 8 root 2 minus 3 over 15. So if it was a multiple choice question and that was the answer, you'd have to be able to simplify that. If it's a long answer question, you could have left it as 4 root 8 or changed it to 8 root 2. Both of those would be fine. All right. Questions for practice are 8 and 13. Try some double triangle questions.